The Galaxy S20 Ultra, a smartphone with everything. A big screen, big camera, big battery, a full stocked spec sheet. So, did it hold up in 2020? And does it qualify this year? Yep, we're back. Back in February, when the S20 Ultra was announced, everyone had big expectations for it. The overkill of a smartphone, the one that had it all. And with a hefty price tag of $1,400 at launch, it seemed like it would bring everything you wanted and some unique features, something new. It would be the perfect phone. Well, not quite. So bear with me until the end because this is interesting. Unboxing the phone was pretty regular, nothing exciting. The phone had a printed 5G S20 Ultra along with the phone specs. Open the box and voila, you see the phone. And quite frankly, it felt heavier than I expected. It's quite big, but not annoyingly and easy to hold. Until you slam a case to it, it starts to feel more bulky, even for bigger hands. It's a glass and metal sandwich, feels premium. And with that big camera bump showing 100x zoom, you immediately want to switch on the phone and try it out. It comes with a 25-watt fast charger and a Type-C charging cable, along with the black AKG Type-C earbuds. Oddly enough, some versions of the phone comes with a clear case and some doesn't. The phone design seems to be quite normal, nothing flashy. It's subtle. The back of the phone looks nice with that grey background, which I think looks much better than the only other option you have, which is black. Still, this is a glossy back, so you easily get fingerprints all over it. And beyond the size of this thing, overall design looks good. Samsung equipped this phone with a magnificent display, a 6.9-inch Quad HD AMOLED with 120Hz refresh rate, covered with a Gorilla Glass 6, which still provides the same scratch resistant as the previous version. So, it's a high-res with a fast refresh rate and very bright at around 1342 nits at peak brightness. The colors are vibrant and has a very good contrast. So, although this phone marketing focused more on the cameras, which we'll talk about in a bit, the display by far the best thing this phone has. That high resolution enhances your watching experience, whether you're watching your favorite stream, a movie, or YouTube. With that awesome clarity and punchy colors, it really takes it to another level. A plus side of 2020 smartphones. And like I said before, it's a huge phone, but not in an annoying way. To put it in perspective, this screen is a little bit taller than my OnePlus 7T Pro screen, so it's still within the acceptable range. This display feels lightning fast with that 120Hz refresh rate combined with a 240Hz touch response, which you'll have to enable by yourself since this phone comes set to 60Hz out of the box. This new higher refresh rate enhances all other aspects, from browsing your menus to going through your feeds and of course gaming. Samsung mastered the display edges this time. It's flattened a bit, making that edge perfect so there's no annoying reflections. And quite honestly, it was weird seeing it because it looked like an edge, but not edgy at the same time, if I'm making any sense. I would describe it as a perfect level of edge curve. And it really showed with time since I experienced significantly fewer accidental touches. This curve received many good feedback that Samsung took it further onward, like we saw on the Note 20 Ultra and most likely on the upcoming S21 Ultra. And yes, we still have Samsung's ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which is more secure than other average sensors. It's fast and with an always-on feature that you can unlock the phone even if the screen is off, as long as you can remember where it's located. So, what's not to like here? Nothing really, except the fact that Samsung did not enable the option of running 120Hz while having the resolution set to 4040p. You'll only have one of those two options running. It's not bad or anything, but having that choice to unlock that screen full potential is quite thrilling, especially for gaming. And with that price tag, limitations doesn't sound very convenient. On the other hand, when you set the screen to 120Hz, it locks onto it, even if you're consuming content with lower refresh rates, such as YouTube videos, while other flagships are using variable refresh rate, which adapts accordingly, saving you some battery. And that hole punch, I mean, yeah, nothing major to complain about here. It's small, but I found it a bit distracting since it was positioned in the middle. You notice it especially when you're watching videos with a wide view or a bright background. With time you get used to it, you forget it's there. But for sure, if it's positioned on the side, it'll be less distracting until we see a Samsung good under-screen camera. Moving forward to the battery, the 5000 mAh battery in the S20 Ultra is good to last you almost 2 days on average use, especially when you're not using the 120Hz or the high resolution. But when you're pushing this phone, let's say you're watching YouTube for hours, playing games, or taking videos heavily, especially with high refresh rate on, you might squeeze around 6.5 to 7 hours of screen on time, which is not what you would expect from a big battery like this one. But since the screen is very demanding, it's almost acceptable. The phone has also reverse charging capability called PowerShare, which is super useful if you want to charge another device wirelessly like your earbuds or smartwatch, and even other phones that has a wireless charging feature. But remember, it's low at almost 4.5 watts, so more ideal for small accessories. And with the included Samsung 25-watt fast charger, you can charge this phone up to 50% in almost 30 minutes and fully in 70, which is okay. But if you want a faster charging option, you can buy a separate Samsung 45-watt charger for almost 50 bucks, more capable and can deliver around 74% in just 30 minutes. I can't think of any reason why they did not include the 45-watt charger with the phone in the first place. After all, this was a $1,400 product. But hey, they're not the only ones trying to get more money from consumers. Plus, the time for being picky is gone, because this year we'll be more than lucky if we get one included in the box with upcoming flagships, with more companies going green. Spec sheet for this phone is packed with many goodies. You have 2 RAM options and 3 storage capacities depending on your region. You can get a 16 gigs of RAM with 512 gigs of internal storage, or a 12 gigs of RAM option with either 256 or 128 gigs of internal storage, which is the version I have. Of course, with the option of an external SD slot which supports up to 1 terabyte. The one that I have is a US version, so it has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 and performance on the Ultra is top-notch. Games and heavy apps are smooth with zero lag, and keeping many apps running in the background is not an issue. You have the option to lock 1 or more apps, keeping them running in the background always, so they're ready to go whenever you need them. One thing I would complain about here is overheating. Playing games for extended periods of time would heat up the phone's back, mostly the part near the cameras where the chipset is located. Even if you're shooting videos or using the camera constantly, it gets hot and you start feeling that uncomfortable sensation in your hand when holding the phone for long. You also would expect performance to take a small hit, but not significant. This might be due to lack of thermal paste on the chip, which helps reduce and regulate heat better. And it's something you would expect to have in any high-performance smartphone such as this one. Overall, performance is 10 out of 10, but there's a twist. You see, for the US and Korean versions, you get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chip, and for the global version, you get the Exynos 990. So the processors and GPU differ between the 2 versions, and therefore there are capability differences between the 2. It seems you're getting better performance from the Qualcomm version, plus better battery consumption, where the Exynos have slower performance and would produce more heat, which may affect your experience and extend the camera's pictures quality. And when you check the phone specs on Samsung's website, it doesn't really have anything to say about the chips. It just gives you what processors you have, and that's it. Although the performance on the upcoming Exynos chip looks promising, we'll have to wait and see if it has any thermal limitations. So let's talk about the elephant in the phone. Cameras. Most of the hype about the Ultra was around these cameras, which set to bring big numbers and new capabilities. So what do we have here? We have a 108 megapixel main camera with 1.8 aperture, an ultra-wide 12 megapixel with 2.2 aperture, a 48 megapixel periscope telephoto with 3.5 aperture, and a 4.3 megapixel depth sensor. So we get a big sensor with a decent group of lenses. What's not to like here, right? Well, I have mixed feelings about these cameras, because looking at these numbers, I thought there will be a big leap in picture quality. Don't get me wrong, this camera setup is versatile and can take some really decent shots. The ultra-wide lens is very good, as always, with a wider field of view and a night mode, which uses the same lens and adds a new perspective to night shots. And that periscope zoom is something else. Even though it's produced from a 10x telephoto lens with digital enhancements, you can bump the zoom to reach 30x and take very good and sharp images, and even go further all the way up to 100x. But then you're compromising quality for zoom. Still, at 100x, it enables you to see things far that your eyes can really get in details. So it's definitely a zoom king, no doubt. And sightseeing with this camera has been a wonderful experience. You can also shoot video up to 8K 24 frames per second. So like I said, very capable. And since 8K on a smartphone is not there yet 100%, there will be few downsides like that huge crop in the video frame, which limits your field of view quite a lot and compromises stabilization a bit, so best keep movement at a low when shooting 8K. But nevertheless, it's something to admire. Not to mention that 108 megapixel camera. Yeah, it can take really detailed pictures. I mean, pinching in one of those pictures makes it feel like a multiple good quality pictures stacked together, if I'm making any sense. And of course, you have a Pro mode, which is awesome and always useful to counter any dynamic range issues in certain lighting conditions. We also have a 40 megapixel selfie camera, which shoots by default at 10 megapixel, processing more details in your background, but with less details on your subject, and vice versa if you switch to 40 megapixel. The qualities of those pictures are okay, you get nice selfies, and depending on which mode you use, the amount of detail of your background changes. But keep in mind, not to use any screen protector that uses any type of clear adhesive, because it creates a thin film between your selfie camera and your screen protector, which highly affects your camera performance and the quality of your shots. But with that huge list of things these cameras can do, unfortunately you still don't have a macro option. Samsung tried to compensate by adding a software feature called Ultra Macro, which basically uses zoom in taking close-up shots, but results are far beyond a dedicated macro lens, which provides more details. And surprisingly, the camera struggled at first with autofocus, especially on close-up objects. This kept going for some time till Samsung rolled out an update to fix this issue. After updating, it kind of felt better, but sometimes it's still a hit and miss. So that update did not solve the issue 100%. And on that 108 megapixels, I mean, yeah, it's nice to have. But looking at the size of that file it's massive for a single shot. We're talking over 30 megabytes. The overall quality of these pictures is really good. But like I said, unfortunately, there's not a huge leap in quality. Although we have the 8K and that zoom, I see nothing really mind-blowing about these cameras. Like we saw with the Huawei P30 Pro, which is something we hope to see again with the new chip this year. This version of One UI feels fast and responsive, and coming from a near-stock version, I can say it looks a bit close. It's based on Android 10, upgradable to Android 11 with One UI 3.0. And with the equipped hardware, it feels smooth and delivers a nice experience. I mean, comparing it to Samsung's older skins, I definitely prefer this one a lot. And being a Samsung phone means it has tons of additions and more security features. Most of these can be found in the advanced setting, but as usual, some of Samsung's default settings does not make any sense. First, this is a big phone with a big display, so few simple gestures to ease navigation would be awesome. Yes, you have the option to swipe down to access notifications, but that's not enabled by default, and quite frankly, I had to use the phone for some time with that option off, and had to use both hands each time I want to access top screen tab. Well, Samsung had another accessibility feature called one-handed mode, which you can use through a gesture to minimize the overall size of the screen, making it easier to access anything that shows in the upper part of the screen. But it doesn't feel as convenient as a single swipe down. And that's not the only setting Samsung is trying to force on users. Out of the box, the power button activates Bixby instead of showing power options. So if you want to switch off the phone, you'll need to access notification tab, which was confusing at first. I mean, luckily you can set the button back to its original purpose, and I hope they stop messing with smartphone essentials. And not to mention the included Samsung apps, which you may not use, but still a minor thing, since this phone is capable and won't be affected by some apps sitting idle. In terms of specs, it wins with a plenty of RAM, a fast chip, huge battery, 5G capability, all come into play, making this phone one of the best and most powerful smartphones of 2020. But considering the launch price, which stayed for almost 4 months before it went down, it wasn't easy to recommend this phone, since other companies produced phones with competitive prices and even more features. Samsung should have included some new features that no other phone has, like an under-screen selfie camera, faster storage, a new material, something unique like their iris scanner or OnePlus filter camera, or LG's second screen capability and flip screen. They also should have made the camera near perfect from the start, with no autofocus issues. They should have provided the same performance across all the Ultra versions, because it's definitely not fair to provide different performance levels to different regions, since they almost pay the same price, if not more, and get lower performance than other Qualcomm regions. But like Apple, there will be Samsung fans. And for them I say, the upcoming S21 Ultra is expected to be expensive as well. So, if you want to get a good overall experience from a Samsung phone, the S20 Ultra would be your best option, since it costs right now around $800, which seems about right, and still in my opinion a better option than the Samsung Fan Edition, since it has more RAM and provides a higher resolution, and of course a better camera setup, considering price will even go lower with the launch of the new S21 lineup this month. And since big companies are now in the business of charging prices like $1,200 and $1,400 for their high-tier phones, which is literally laptop territory, and at the same time taking stuff away instead of adding them in, even if they provide a 5G capability. I think it's not fair to pay double and only get around 25% increase in overall performance compared to the older model. So we should always consider value for money and keep an open mind about exploring more options, which may provide a better experience depending on what department you're looking for in a smartphone. Let me know in the comment section below what new features you'd be excited to see this year. Hope you enjoyed this one. See you in the next video. Stay safe.